Year was good from an individual standpoint. Was able to impact in a various amount of roles, and not just with disposal, but the main thing that I really wanted to do was be an influence around the group and help develop the boys in the team, and top age, bottom age, develop them as people more so. And that was something Coxie and I were big on at the start of the year, and it was just impact and consistency, as I said, with ball in hand, but just consistently being a good leader, consistently having impact with my voice on the field, or turning up to training early, doing extras, doing vision, speed work, whatever that may be, setting the standards as captain, but then leading the way, and also having those conversations with players that need to be had to better the group and better them as people and as athletes. So as I reflect on my year, that was good. And as a development program at Dandenong, although we didn't go as far as what we would have liked, I feel like the development of obviously the two bottom age boys to play in that day on grand final day was pretty special. And from the start of the year where they started to then the end to do that was good, and that was all part of it. And then hopefully a couple of us boys get drafted would be nice as well. So reflecting on it was good.
Absolutely. Tell us, when did you find out about getting the captaincy, and how did you sort of approach that responsibility? Because obviously it's not just sort of a title, you've certainly approached it as a bigger responsibility.
Coxie told me probably November last year, and kind of naturally took over from my cricket since then, given I wanted to be around the group obviously as much as possible to get to know all the players and staff and the new boys in the squad and their personalities, how I could best captain them, how I could best shape them into better people and better footballers, and then obviously my own craft and do my own work around the group and be there as much as possible and lead the way. But it kind of just naturally took over, and ended up, because trainings would be with cricket on the same nights, and I'd have to sacrifice one or the other, and it was cricket, and then it just took over from my football. But Coxie gave it to me, and I've kind of led the way in cricket teams and footy teams coming along the way, and it was just another feather in the cap, and took it with a stride. It was a really good opportunity. I could either be just another captain or leave a legacy on the Stingrays and the organisation, so that's what I wanted to do.
What was the legacy when you were sort of looking ahead, casting forward in November last year, and how do you feel like you would assess your ability to do that?
Well, a captain that leads by his actions, not just words, and wanted to be like a ruthless player and a ruthless person around the club, but make it a really enjoyable environment and culture to walk into every Tuesday, Thursday and weekend, and to help when everyone gets into the program start off somewhere, and then when they end they're better in every aspect, or as many as possible. And that was something that I wanted to leave on the club, and that's not just players, that's people around the club and their families and the girls program as well, and everyone that's involved. So I feel like if I had a little impact on that, even just 1%, that's still positive, and that's something I want to do.
What does leadership look like to you, simply?
Well, selflessness is a big one. As I said, I love using my voice and setting up the boys on the ground and playing those selfless roles if need be, where I'll get flicked down back to play a lockdown role, and then go and play certain defensive roles in the midfield, and taking that onus on myself to go and do that, and helping develop people when I'm out there as well, but then honest and critical when I need to be, or myself or other people around the group if their training habits aren't up to scratch, or if they're not wanting to defend or buy into the values and direction that we want to go to at Dandenong or Vic or wherever that may be.
Tell us about the balance of, like and respect. That's something that's talked about in HP programs quite a lot, in footy clubs. You're probably one who's got both.
I think, especially as I said, with those conversations that need to be had that can be difficult, having the respect of the people around me, knowing it's coming from a good place and it's constructive, and trying to better them and get them in the better direction. And in long term, they might not see it short term as a helpful, but I mean, if you keep letting those habits happen, it's just going to stem into a bigger issue. So having the respect of me, having the respect of them, and as well, I feel like helps with those things. And being liked, obviously, as captain, you need to be liked, and you've got to have the respect of the people around you. They kind of buy into each other. When you like someone, you usually respect them as well. So
Tell us about the voice on field. Is that something that just sort of comes naturally to you?
Well, I've always been loud in cricket when calling for a run and whatever it may be, and I guess it can be also an intimidation factor as well. And if you see your captain waving his arms around and talking and setting everyone up, and I guess it's something that I want to do because I want to win, but then I also want to better everyone around me, and by setting everyone up because we had so many debutants as well throughout the year, not knowing, I guess, maybe, or they'll be a bit nervous on where to stand, or having a great understanding myself as captain about that and just helping them out. It's kind of something that just comes naturally to me, and always wanting to help out the others around me, but as I touched on before, a selfless leader. So it wasn't something out of the ordinary. I've always done stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about, you talked about some of those habits before. Tell us about some of those, I guess, elite habits that you've sort of got as part of that preparation and post-game.
Yeah, it's obviously big, making sure your body's close to 100%. So ice baths, massages, stretching, gym, all those type of stuff. And then you go in before training on a Tuesday, do vision, reflect on your game, see how it was, reflect on others, how we can help nullify that if it happens again. What I did well with ball in hand, but stoppage positioning as well. So around the stoppage, how I can nullify my opponent, did I get him under the ball, how I can exploit his weaknesses, and then after I dispose of the ball, where I run to, other things like that, just deeper than just with ball in hand. And then Thursday night, we go through opposition. So we'll look at their strengths and weaknesses around contest or whatever that may be. And there's usually a couple of us boys that sit in that one. The Tuesday night's more individual. And we'll just look at that and see how we can nullify that as a midfield group or whatever line that may be. And then, I guess it just goes into individual prep, doing your craft and your regular training sessions with the group. And I do extra speed work as well, even though it's one of my strengths, continuing to work on my lateral or acceleration and deceleration movements, how I can continue to improve those things.
That was Benny Benson?
Yeah, Benny.
Had that progressed throughout the year, the speed work, obviously a feature of the game?
It was something at the start of the year Ben brought to me, and we kind of brought it to each other as it's one of my strengths, but let's continue to really improve it. And how, when I explode our stoppage really quickly, how can I quickly stop and change direction as well, and just add extra strings to my bow. Chase down tackles, also a big one, and my closing speed's another one of my strengths. So not just when I have ball in hand to explode, but when I don't, how I can quickly get it back. And I guess it just all brought into each other, how I can quickly stop, how I can quickly change direction. So
was there a game where you sort of felt like it all sort of came together late in the season?
With speed or just in
with
general?
Speed?
It was probably, I love that WA game with my speed, or South Australia, big ground at Nationals and under lights was pretty cool there, and I was able to utilise it, good conditions as well, which was handy. The Tassie game as well, where I was able to burst away at times but then chase down people as well. So that were probably a couple.
Tell us about, so just going back to the vision, are you someone that would watch the extra vision beyond yourself to then help set up the team? As I said, I'll go in, usually do it for about an hour and a half before training, and then I'll do it on my own. We'll have Huddle, and we have other apps that we can watch stuff on, and I guess it comes down to the individual and how much you want to buy in and how much you want to get success, and by doing those extra things help got team success, but then obviously individual success help develop the people around me as well. So how much extra vision would you be watching above and beyond just, I guess, your reflections on each game?
Probably a couple of hours. It's nothing too crazy. When enough's enough, it's enough, but more just like stuff without me. It's more watching the other boys around me. The opposition's a big one, and then, as I said, the team that we play on the weekend, what they did well, what we did well against them, how we can improve certain things.
When you were watching that vision, were you doing it with Coxie? Were you dialoguing with him and you were watching it at home?
I was doing most of that stuff Tuesday before training, and then Thursday before training we'll do opposition stuff for that coming weekend.
How'd you approach the different characters? Like you said, before, there's obviously not too many that were necessarily from your neck of the woods, so some of them would have been new faces. How do you approach that with so much chopping and changing?
I guess everyone's in that same organisation with the goal of getting drafted, but to obviously become better and become better athletes and people. So some people as well go about it different. Some are more professional than others, have higher drive and competitive nature than others, and it's just about understanding, well, if they don't, how can I be patient and how can I help them and understand that they want to get there but just might take longer, a different route than me and other people. So everyone seemed to get to a better position in the end, improvement bigger in others than other people, and everyone's got different ages and backgrounds, as you said, and come from different places. So it was just about me getting to know them on a deeper level than just as a footballer, and understanding how I could impact them in a better way.
How'd you do that above and beyond just your regular training sessions?
Yeah, well, obviously you go in early and you connect with new people, and you kick the ball before training with different blokes, and you'll obviously talk to them through social media, or we'll have footy group chats and go and do extra skill stuff, and that's how you kind of get to know them, and you get to know what type of person they are, what they do outside school or work, or what other hobbies they have, how driven they are, how competitive they are. You find out pretty quickly the driven ones that want to get there and the ones that don't. So.
Yeah, absolutely. When's your first interaction with the high performance program?
Like Danny or just...
Or any, cricket or footy?
The age of 11 probably, 10, 11.
How was that? Was that cricket or...
cricket? State cricket. Yeah, it was Victoria indoor cricket, and then I was captain Australia indoor cricket. And then it just stemmed on from there through my cricket and then through footy. Kind of kicked in under... I don't even know what that was in footy, but cricket had started quite young.
How's that given you a perspective on what high performance sort of means, and how's that evolved from being a 10, 11-year-old to now?
It's just part of having really good structure and organisation, and understanding when enough's enough, but then having time slots for everything. Your preparation, your recovery is really big, and what you eat, how you sleep. But then I guess from my point of view, it was I'd play well, the rest of the team, if they didn't, how I could help them, and if I didn't play well and they played well, how I could bounce back from that the next day. In cricket, you got a game the next day, how we can bounce back, and if some people are lacking drive in the team, or don't want to get the same direction, this is more a local, how I can help them and understand why they don't, and how we can get better. And it stemmed back in under 12s, those kind of thoughts, and then that kind of kicked in with my leadership. Well, how can I help become a better leader and help them all around me get to the same direction, the same place? And then that usually buys into team success, and it's flowed on into this year that Daniel.
So you feel like you've had those sort of thoughts about leadership and helping others around you since you were about that sort of under 12s age bracket?
I've had that for a while now, so it's always just come to me naturally. Always been really respectful of the people around me, and understanding and wanting everyone to get success, and want the team to win.
Talk about structure and allowing enough time for different things that you need to do throughout the week. What are those different things on an individual level that you do?
Obviously gym's a big one. You've got 3 or 4 of them a week, sessions, your ice baths, your saunas, recovery boots, stretching. Then obviously you got your 2 training sessions, or a couple with the team, and then you do extra individual prep and craft, which I usually come out here with school and do ground balls or kicking, all those different types of things. And then any extra added stuff that you need, your vision and mindfulness and all those different types of things that some weeks you might be sore than others, you have shorter breaks than others, so it all kind of just depends on the week.
Mindfulness and meditation, I think we touched on earlier in the year when I spoke to you. Is that something that you really tapped into this way?
Darren at Stingrays, the wellbeing coach, was big on that kind of stuff, and I guess I've always been really good mentally with that stuff, given cricket's such a mental individual sport within the team sport, how to handle it and how to adapt to different scenarios and pressures, and not dwell on things but not look too far ahead. And that was something we were big on this year. Don't dwell on the last game, don't look too far ahead, just stay at the moment, focus on that training session, focus on what you're doing, and not dwell on other things. So I guess that was a big focus this year with Darren, and a big focus with me and the boys around the group that wanted to buy into that side of the game as well.
Is that something you got bought into in pre-season as well with Craig?
We did a fair bit of boxing, and when I had a bit of fluid in my foot at the start of the year, that was big, because I couldn't do any running, so it was more swimming, boxing, riding, other ways than just riding, to just buy into my cardio, and I guess it was just a different point of view, and Craig was really good with that. He brought in different ways. We had the 30-30s as well, which was your burpees, your push-ups, your boxing, star jumps, all those different things that boxers do in their camps. So that was really good, and another insight into a way to get better.
I'm glad you touched on the foot. Tell us about, I guess, how long that foot injury sort of lasted for and how that sort of changed up your training?
Yeah, no, it was only about 6 weeks. I mean, I got into it pretty early because I understand when my body's the difference between soreness and there might be something wrong. So got into it pretty early, and it was only 6 weeks just in a little moon boot and just off legs. So it was kind of just the best way I could still be around the group, how I could still get to training and focus on getting a better understanding of the people around me, the structure, the game plan that we wanted to play, how I could still buy into that and help out, but then how I can stay fit, physically get better, and mentally and emotionally as well. So that was doing things with Craig like boxing, or Darren with the meditation, riding, swimming with Benny, and other gym work that I was capable of doing, and then just being out there at the drills, helping out Coxie and the other line coaches if needed, and seeing what we're doing well, what we aren't, how I can help improve that when I'm back out on the track with them as well.
Yeah. And from a mindset point of view on game day, how do you approach it? So wake up game day, what's sort of the approach?
Yeah, depends what time the game is. Let's say the game's at 2 o'clock. I'll just wake up and have breakfast and just kind of focus, like not too much about it, just kind of focus on myself and making sure my body's at the best level it can be. So drinking lots of water, have some lunch before we play, go to the ground, and then just have a really clear understanding of what I'm doing. Focusing on those couple of words and my impact and being consistent. Coxie would sometimes give me some other words throughout the day, but they would probably be the couple of things, and just to enjoy it and go out there playing with 22 of your best mates, and obviously you all want the same success, you all want to get the win, so just going out there and having fun, and then once we're out there it's just like any other game, you're not worrying about anything else but playing the football. So it's kind of just smiling and how I could help other people around me when I was out there was a big one for me as well.
Yeah, nice. So impact and consistency, 2 words?
Yeah, they were my 2 words throughout the year, and as I touched on before, not just on the field, but how I could continue to be consistent and impact off the field and impact the people around me as well.